Yehudi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Kavela.
Parashat Shmot, or the bitterness of slavery. Pharaoh enslaves the Jews. Pharaoh's daughter rescues baby Moses from the water. Moses identifies with the Jews and defends them. God speaks to Moses from the burning bush. Reluctantly, Moses confronts Pharaoh and fails. We all talk about making first impressions. But how does God make a first impression? Our Parsha gives us an answer when God introduces himself, as it were, to Moses through the burning bush, where God says, Moses, I want you to be the one to go to Pharaoh and demand, let my people go. But God introduces himself in an unusual way. Listen carefully to the verse. God said to Moses, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. This is puzzling. If God is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, then why does God need to say the God of your father, Amram? That's obvious. The Midrash picks up on this and imagines that God spoke in the voice of Moses' father. So Moses heard a voice emanating from the burning bush, Moses. And Moses responded, Dad? God continued, I'm not your father. I'm the God of your father, who is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I think we learn two things from this beautiful midrash. The first is that God has a different relationship with each generation, indeed each person. Note that the phrase Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob begins God of Abraham, God of Isaac, and God of Jacob, because each of those patriarchs interacted differently with God. And so do we. And also, Judaism for Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob was different from the generation of Amram, Moses, slavery in Egypt. Just like Judaism back then is different from how it is today. Being Jewish is so powerful because the very same chain that links us to our parents begins with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. We're Jewish because of them. Of course we are. But we're also Jewish because we're children raised in our parents' home. And the second reason is the voice of God can sound like an ordinary human voice. What we hear another person say just might be the voice of God. We don't know where, we don't know who, we don't know when, but maybe, just maybe, that person is speaking the voice of God. So let's live with our ears and hearts open to the possibility that God still speaks through us, just through the voices of ordinary people doing extraordinary things.